Yo, what's going on, guys? Jetxc here, and we got some big news, and this is about Shift Up and probably one of their most anticipated projects and one of their biggest projects. Now, why do I say biggest? Because they've said in their investor reports, which are public, for public viewing, by the way, that this is a game that's supposed to be bigger than NIKKE, right? Project Witches is the name, but it got changed to Project Spirits. Now, this game is supposedly set to launch in 2027, and I'm going to read you the information here. So, Project Witches has been renamed Project Spirits, and it's led by the extremely talented developer Hanguni. The game will be a subculture cross-platform game for PC and mobile, set for global launch in 2027. And judging by the art, it seems like the game will aim for the same level of artistic excellence that Shift Up is known for. And if you see on the left here, this art is reminiscent of like Destiny Child. Now here's the thing, I don't know if this will be like how the official art will look. We'll have to see. But there's one extra thing I want to add here that I think is pretty interesting, right? So this tweet continues on to say, in the past, this game was described as an urban fantasy game, but it seems that it has been dropped in favor of more Eastern fantasy vibe. Currently, Shift Up is recruiting talent from multiple disciplines, right? So this is actually true. They did say it would be an urban fantasy type gacha game, but it looks like they're leaning more towards an Eastern fantasy vibe. So the market they're going for is definitely going to be Asia, obviously. And I think this is all for good reason, right? They want this to be, and like they've said in their documents to their investors, they want this to be bigger than NIKKE, and they think it will be bigger than NIKKE. Now, what leads them to believe that? Well, I decided to look more into this and look into the job postings for Project Spirits, right? So let's get into some of those job postings here. And I want to show you guys two different job postings for the lead content planner and the battle planner. And you'll kind of get an idea when I read to you first the description for the lead content planner. So I did some chat GPT translations to make sure things were good. So I'm going to read this off to you guys. Here we go. Project Spirit is Shift Up's new flagship subculture cross-platform title featuring the theme of Eastern fantasy. As a new IP following Stellar Blade and NIKKE, it's being developed with top-tier quality built on Shift Up's proven capabilities and IP creation. We're looking for talented individuals who are passionate about creating world-class games. We believe that great games come from great teamwork and great developers. That's why we're seeking passionate developers to join us. If you love subculture and want to express the love through your work, we encourage you to apply. So real quick, subculture, guys, what they mean by that is these gacha games are subcultures of otaku culture, which is basically people that are into anime and manga, right? So when you hear a lot of companies say, oh, we're trying to make a new subculture genre game, they're literally saying they want to make an anime game, right? The audience and the target is all those that love anime and manga. So that's what they mean by subculture genre. So let's keep going. Responsibilities. Design core content and systems for large-scale subculture RPG. Develop and balance gameplay mechanics focused on exploration, progression, and interaction. Plan content flow and player engagement loops, quests, collectibles, combat, content, etc. Collaborate with other departments, art, programming, narrative, and lead feedback discussions. And then they go into qualifications and stuff like that. Guys, I think this is going to be an open world gacha game. If not open world instance. But let's keep reading here because this is pretty interesting. First off, I thought it was pretty funny because under qualifications, they actually want to know if you own over 30 figures or game related merchandise. I thought that was kind of interesting that they really want you to be like a fan of like these video games and or like anime, right? But they do mention here passion about titles like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero, Ghost of Tsushima, NIKKE, and Stellar Blade. So two of those stand out, right? Ghost of Tsushima and NIKKE or excuse me, not NIKKE, Stellar Blade stand out. If you've ever played NIKKE, there are some, oh God, I keep saying NIKKE. If you've ever played Stellar Blade, there are a lot of similarities between Stellar Blade and Ghost of Tsushima, a little bit in the combat mostly, especially with parries. They are trying to combine things from Stellar Blade and stuff from NIKKE to make this game. This is going to be either an open world combat game with deep combat mechanics like swords, parrying, things like that, or it's going to be an open world instance, right? Like something like maybe gosh, like Snowbreak. And I think, is ZZZ open world instance? Let me know in the chat, guys. But it sounds like it's mostly going to be an open world game with deep combat for each character. Right now, I'm going to read one more, and this is the battle planner, because I think this is also important too. So I'm going to skip the fluff at the beginning, right? Let's see. So this is for the combat designer. Responsibilities: design dynamic and deeply engaging combat systems across various genres and styles. Create skills and action designs that reflect each character individually, or each character's individuality in the game's lore. Develop unique combat styles and progression systems for each character. Build a sustainable meta and robust balancing system. Collaborate closely with other teams and lead feedback discussions. And then it's basically some of the same requirements, right? Like passionate with like other gacha game titles, and they still mention Ghost of Tsushima and Stellar Blade. So yeah, I mean, this pretty much is confirming that this next big gacha game that they believe will be bigger than NIKKE is going to be open world. It will be 3D, it will be for PC, it will be for mobile, and it will be running on UE5 apparently, so Unreal Engine 5. Pretty interesting. I'm really curious on the route they're going to go. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, right? Because I'm guessing it's going to be an all-female open-world gacha game with a lot of different fighting style elements, similar to more so like ZZZ, Ghost of Tsushima, Stellar Blade. I think they'll incorporate a lot of swords, a lot of mystical magic, things like that. So it's pretty exciting to see. And then I think the sell for this game is obviously going to be the all-female cast. And then honestly, I see them adding things like jiggle physics and things like that, because it's been pretty prominent in both their titles for NIKKE and Stellar Blade. So I think that might be something that they add, and you know, we'll see. But pretty interesting stuff overall. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and whenever we get some Project Witch news, or excuse me, Project Spirits, I'll let you guys know. All right, later.